Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the new iPad A16. This is technically the 11th generation, but Apple decided just to call it A16 based on its processor. It starts at $349 with double the storage for the same price as last year, 128 gigabytes of storage, and goes up to $649 with 512 gigabytes of storage. For an additional $150, you can add cellular, but at that point I would probably get an iPad Air. We have the same colors as last year, blue, pink, yellow, and silver, and this one is the 128 gigabyte model with Wi-Fi and the A16. So you can see that here, it just says A16. Let's go ahead and open it up. So we'll remove the little pull tabs here, and let's see what we've got. Let's open it up. We'll compare it with last year's model as well. There we go. We'll remove it here. And let's see what we get in the box first. So we've got a little bit of paperwork, no stickers again this year. We've got a little warranty card and a little quick start guide. So pretty typical lately with their setup. And then we do have a power adapter in this one. So we do have the power adapter, and you can see that here. So if we bring that in, we've got the 20-watt power adapter along with a braided cable. So they're still including it with the cheapest iPad. So we've got USB-C to USB-C and a braided cable here. Now let's take a look at the iPad itself. Put this away and we'll take a closer look here. So we'll take the cover off here. And you can see I picked up the silver model here. And last year I had the blue one, but it's basically the same thing. Apple redesigned it last year, and on the right-hand side we have our volume buttons, then nothing else. On the bottom, USB-C with the speakers, both speakers, and then on the other side we have our power sleep wake button that's also a Touch ID sensor for our fingerprint, along with more speakers. Now there's only 2 speakers, and one of these is a resonance chamber. And then we have some pogo pins on the bottom that allow it to connect to a dock and things like that. Now compared with last year's model, it still will work with the same accessory here, but let's go ahead and take a look. And you'll see here's the nice blue color. They really haven't changed anything at all as far as the overall size or anything else. So they're basically the same here. We just have some different color options. Again, all the same accessories work with them as well. However, if you want to keep your brand new iPad protected, today's sponsor ESR has the UltraFit Classic Screen Protector. This has got to be one of the easiest screen protector applications ever. That's because all you do is place your iPad in the ESR frame face down, then close the cover and hold it while pulling the tab. It applies the screen protector dust-free and bubble-free and aligns it for the best fit. It also is 2 times stronger than standard screen protectors. Now, if you're someone who likes to draw or take notes but wants a less expensive option to the Apple Pencil, the ESR Geo Digital Pencil allows for smooth and precise writing or drawing. It has a tilt sensor, utilizes palm rejection, and has a 1.5mm tip for a smooth, precise experience. It connects through Bluetooth and has an assignable shortcut button and real-time battery display. It also works with Apple's Find My network with its Apple-certified Find My module, so if you lose the pencil, you can locate it in the app while using sound. To pick up the UltraFit Classic Screen Protector or Geo Digital Pencil, be sure to use my link in the description below. Now let's go ahead and turn this on and give it just a moment here to turn on. There we go. And we also now have the A16 processor. It has 6 gigabytes of RAM, but oddly, no Apple Intelligence. We'll take a look at that in a moment. It has Wi-Fi 6, 5G, but no Apple C1 chip, and that's only if you get the cellular model. Of course, we can use the Geo Digital Pencil, but we can use Apple's own pencil, the USB-C version, or Apple Pencil 1st Gen as well. Let's go ahead and set this up. So we'll go and select English. Let me bring over my iPhone to make this a little bit easier. We'll go ahead and connect it this way. We'll set it up using the iPhone next to it here. And I'll set this up as just a new iPad, but I want to use this to connect the accounts. It says, who are you setting it up for? I'm setting it up for myself. And then we have to enter the passcode of the phone over here. It is asking for a software update. We'll do that later and we'll check what version's on this. Then it says data privacy. We'll tap continue. Now we'll set up Touch ID. So we'll tap continue and then place our finger on the Touch ID sensor. So pretty simple setup, just like any other Touch ID sensor. I know some people wish they'd bring this back to iPhone and other things. And now it says capture all your fingerprints, so we'll tap continue, and we're almost done here. So it only takes a moment. We've got it set up. We could add another finger if we wanted to, and let's go ahead and set that up later in settings. Now we have to agree to the terms and conditions, and now it's going to sign into my account. Now it says make this your new iPad. We can customize or tap continue. I'll customize, and I don't want to transfer anything, so I'll set it up as new. Now it says, do you want to update your iPad automatically? I'll only download automatically. I'll enable location services for things like maps. Again, give it just a moment here, and then we can set up Apple Pay now or later. And then we can set up screen time. We'll set that up later and continue. We won't share iPad analytics. That's up to you though. Then we can utilize Siri. We'll set that up later. And then we could join the beta program, continue. We'll just tap don't continue for now. And now it says welcome to iPad. Now we'll take a look at the things on the home screen in just a moment, but one thing I wanted to show you is a quick comparison. Now technically they're the same size and everything else, same resolutions as far as the display, but Apple actually lists this as slightly smaller with the display than the new one. Apple has this at 10.9 inches compared to the new one that's 11 inches. However, they have the exact same resolution. What that means is 2360 by 1640 at 264 pixels per inch, 500 nits, and everything else is the same. Also, the display is very reflective and is not laminated. So compared to an iPad Air from last year, for example, you can see that here. So it's much darker here on the left with the iPad Air. It's better at canceling reflections or not seeing them, and you can see that here. So it's one of those things that I wish Apple maybe would add to the regular iPad, but either way, if you're considering this, you may want to consider the Air if you're getting toward the higher end spec due to its reflectivity. Let's go ahead and unlock it. You can see that nice animation there. Let's go ahead and scroll through. It's nice and fast here. And if we go to settings, we'll go to general, then about. As you can see, it was pre-installed with iPadOS 18.3, version 22D2067. Now let's check for a software update. I'm sure we have 18.3.2, so we're a couple versions behind. So let me get this updated and then we'll continue. The iPad has been updated to iPadOS 18.3.2 with the latest version, and we have no option of Apple Intelligence. So nothing there. If we take a look at the battery here, you'll see we do have battery health, so we can see that. 0 cycles, of course, being brand new, and it should get us through about 10 hours. It also has eSIM support if you have the cellular option, and it supports advanced eSIM technology, which is something the older one doesn't mention. It says for more convenience and security and not compatible with physical SIM cards, so that's something that's a little bit different. Also, the reason this doesn't have Apple Intelligence is probably due to its 6 gigabytes of RAM. We can see that in Geekbench 6, where we only have 6 gigs of RAM. All Apple Intelligence devices have 8, and this is basically the only new Apple device without Apple Intelligence. I did run benchmarks, so if we go to the CPU history, I scored 2,532 for single core, 4,719 for multi-core. Now, one thing, this is probably going to be bought mostly for places such as schools or just someone that wants a cheap iPad. If we go into the camera, of course, we have the same cameras as last year. We can record, of course, with video. So if we go into video, flip this around here, we can switch to 4K at 60 frames per second. So we do have the 4K 60 option. We can use it as a camera, and it's great for education. So we have all of those options. We also have the landscape FaceTime camera, which is nice. So no real changes there. Everything else is basically what you would expect with an iPad, iPadOS 18.3.2, and you can use the pencil and everything else with it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can use Apple's keyboard case, but ESR even offers something similar that's much less expensive and has the same functionality. So you can see we have the keyboard case, and with this keyboard and then the iPad itself, and then if you got cellular, you might as well get an iPad Air. You'll have a better display, Apple Intelligence, all of the future updates, and of course you can get different accessories with it. But this is an option. I think it's great, especially for education, pretty simple usage, but with the keyboard case, it's quite thick overall. But I think it's a great iPad just for general use, given its price at about $350, and that's without any discounts whatsoever. Now that we have 128 gigabytes of storage, I think that's a great option. And one last thing to check, let's go ahead and see if we can unlock it here. If we go into settings, we'll go down to wallpaper, and let's add a new wallpaper. Give it a second to load. And if we scroll down, it's still a little bit choppy, and that's so terrible to see on a brand new device. But you can see these are our wallpaper options. So iPadOS, and then we have the original wallpaper for this device, but nothing new to sort of separate it between the 10th generation and the new 11th or A16 generation. So we do have this option, but again, it's a bit disappointing that it's not really changed at all. Now, one reason I wasn't using dark mode is the reflectivity. You can see how reflective it is with dark mode, and it's just hard to see there, but it does have that option and all the other options, just not Apple Intelligence. Let me know what you think of the iPad A16, maybe if Apple should drop this, or maybe just lower the price of the iPad Air. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.